Also, you know, for many years in the past, we used to hear young men and women say that they wanted to be a police officer when they grew up. But unfortunately, we're not hearing that as much anymore. Law enforcement agencies across the country experienced a wave of retirements and departures and are struggling to recruit the next generation of police officers in the years following the BLM and Antifa riots, where we saw police attacked night after night continuously all summer. Over 93 police cars were burned, and over $2 billion in damages were wrought in communities all over America. The rate of retirements in some departments rose 45% with the previous year, according to research on nearly 200 law enforcement agencies. At the same time, hiring slowed by 5%. The wave had come as local lawmakers and federal lawmakers pledged to enact reforms on police, such as ending the policies that give officers immunity for their actions while on duty. Studies show there has been a 44% increase in retirements and an 18% increase in resignations in police departments. In Atlanta, the department has been down 400 to 500 officers over the past 3 years. One officer who left Atlanta said, basically, we're one bullet away from death and one mistake away from indictment. So why roll the dice with my future when I can go do something else? These are the saddest statements that I think we can hear coming from police officers feeling that they're forced into retirement because no one is supporting them on the job. In their exit interviews, many of them cited the defund movement and lack of support from local elected officials as a reason for leaving their departments and leaving law enforcement completely.
There are some on this committee, not all, certainly not the chairman, who have advocated for defunding the FBI. Do you think we should defund the FBI, Mr. Mays?
No, sir.
Sheriff?
No, sir. I have a son who's an FBI agent, so no. I want to keep him employed.
Mr. Bullock?
No, sir.
And Mr. Bryant?
No, sir.
So I just want to have some real talk with you all and some of my colleagues because I'm the son of a cop. My brothers are cops. I was a prosecutor. Law enforcement for our family is not a career, it's a way of life. It's about putting the bad guys away and keeping the community safe. And so to me, when I hear some of my colleagues, again, not all of them, but some of them on this committee thump their chest and say that they back the blue, but then they're going to call a January 6th convict a hostage, that's not back in the blue, that's back in the coup. And when some of them say that they back the blue, but the second the blue raids the house of their preferred candidate for president, that's not backing the blue, that's backing a fool.
I'm just one representative of the hundreds of police officers that were assaulted that day by Donald Trump's supporters, inspired by his lies. The lies that continue to this day to inspire my fellow Americans to turn against their fellow Americans, to turn against police officers.
And of course, this is hardly the first time Marjorie Taylor Greene's back the blue hypocrisy has come back to bite her.
I want to remind the gentle lady that it was her that actually organized a trip to the DC jail to hug and high five and sit with the insurrectionists that actually attacked our Capitol. So if we're talking about the safety of DC and the Capitol, it's just quite, I think, ironic. This is all facts. This is quite ironic that the insurrectionists that had tried to overthrow our government in the capital city were being coddled. We're actually being coddled by. It's quite a shame that you call them political prisoners or hostages. I think maybe you called them. They actually try to overthrow our government. Let me continue with my time.
Mr. Chairman, she's not recognized.
Thank you. So I think it's quite interesting that my colleague wants trying to talk about the safety of D.C.
And there she goes. You know, the slightest criticism will have her storming out like a little kid.
There's something that is imminent and I'm concerned about because it just put a target on the back of everybody in law enforcement at the federal level and the local level. And that is a statement that one of our colleagues made earlier this week. And we have jurisdiction over the FBI as well as the ATF. But Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia said the Biden DOJ and FBI were planning to assassinate President Trump and gave the green light. Does everyone get it yet? What are Republicans going to do about it? This is quite a concerning statement from an elected member of Congress, because this false statement creates the pretext for violence. It suggests to Americans, who, by the way, are armed to the teeth, we're a country where the most dangerous people have access to the most dangerous weapons, and it suggests to them that their own government and the people who wear the badge are out to assassinate the former president. And I just want to first clear up this falsity, and the FBI this week has issued a statement to do that. But first and foremost, the search at Mar-a-Lago, the former president was not there. And that was intentional. So if there was an effort to assassinate the former president, they went at a time when he was not there. Second, the former president was actually treated better than most people during a raid, because the FBI didn't go in with their raid jackets. They wore polo shirts to show a little bit of respect to the former president and not make it a raid-like environment. Third, standard use of force procedures were followed during that search, as they were followed in every search, including, fourth, the same search procedures and use of force policy that was used to retrieve documents at President Biden's Delaware residence. This is a pretext for violence, and I will yield to any of my colleagues who will join me in condemning it. I will yield to any colleague who will condemn the suggestion by Marjorie Taylor Greene that the FBI was out to assassinate former President Trump. Please condemn it.
And now we got Republicans, including Marjorie Taylor Greene, going around saying that the Biden DOJ was attempting to assassinate President Trump, even though pretty much every single FBI raid includes rights to shoot. I mean, what police officer do you know that doesn't have the right to shoot? And whether it's to protect their life or because they're going to end up saying it was to protect their life. Like, get out of here, man. Like, that is an egregious claim to make, but that's where we are in this country. That's where we're at. And that's not to say that the Biden administration isn't guilty of many, many, many sins, but not stuff like that. Like, you can't just go around making claims like that. But that's like serious defamation. You know, you got this going all over the place, but again, where we're at.